From Bale Street to Byhalia, the Mighty 990 has you covered. Traffic, weather, now on the Mighty 990. Brought to you by Weimer's Jewelry.
Good morning. Traffic's been in pretty good shape for the most part. On 55 coming up through DeSoto County. It's just busy out here as expected on Austin P as you make your way towards the interstate. Still holding up right now on I-40 across the River Bridge. All that traffic flow this time of the morning over from West Memphis headed towards Midtown. Hey, when it comes to jewelry, nobody treats you better than Weimer's Jewelry. Just in time for the holiday season, go see David today at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Here's your forecast from News Channel 3. Under mostly sunny skies, get ready for temperatures to climb into the mid-60s this afternoon. Winds from the southwest. Right around 40 overnight, but we're back into the mid and upper 60s for Thursday and Friday, watching for rain Friday night. Spencer Lee's transmission ready to service your car, truck, or van. Now at 6900 Sarton, just off Goodman Road in Horn Lake. Same great service, new location. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers.
Armstrong and Getty, coming up at 9 on the Mighty 990 KWAM and streaming online at KWAMradio.com.
7:35, you're listening to Wake Up Memphis on the Mighty 990 FM 107.9 and AM 990. She's Grace, he's Kenny, I'm Tim. We're streaming all the time at KWAMradio.com. That's KWAMradio.com. Yep, you can go back later in the day and listen to the show. I would too, because we say a lot of great things, and our guests are great too. You can always go back and listen later in the day or anytime. And give us a call too. Our trivia question for this hour, of course, Austin is the current capital of Texas. Our trivia question for a KWAM prize pack is the previous capital of Texas was Houston? Was it El Paso, or was it Texarkana? And our question of the day, with the threat of the health department being able to fine you for not wearing masks, that could be a possibility within a month. How concerned are you that our leaders care more about fining you than protecting you as the homicide rate continues to climb? Give us a call, 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-KWAM. Texas, yesterday, it was announced, is suing 4 states, and it looks like a minimum of 5, maybe up to 10 other states could be joining in that lawsuit regarding unconstitutionality of the behaviors of 4 separate states. Texas has had enough. How much has Texas had? Are they up to here? Are they fed up? Joining me this morning is author Daniel Miller, who has a book out called Texit, and why and how Texas will leave the Union. Daniel, thank you for joining me on KWAM in Memphis. How are you?
I'm doing great. I just wish I qualified for the prize pack. I know the answer.
You better know that. At first I thought it was Texarkana because much of Smokey and the Bandit took place there, but we won't go into that. But I tell you what, here in Tennessee, we're not in Texas, so I'm coming at you with curious ears this morning. I know Texas is fed up, and oftentimes they're at the forefront in pushing against tyranny. I got to ask you, because Brexit has been going on for years now over in England. There's been other exit attempts. How real, how substantial is a Texit movement?
Well, I mean, it's massive. Our organization, the Texas Nationalist Movement, is one of, if not the largest political organization in Texas outside the 2 mainstream political parties. So, when we started the TNM back in 2005, support for Texas independence was polling in single digits. Fast forward to 2014, where a Reuters Ipsos poll showed that 54% of Republicans, about half of independents, and over a third of Texas Democrats believe that Texas should become an independent nation. Since then, this year at the state's Republican convention, they passed a plank supporting a vote, calling for a vote on Texas independence by 93%.
Wow.
So, we have over the years seen support for this grow, and it's understandable. Looking at it, from your standpoint, the curiosity that you have coming from Tennessee, it's important to know that all the arguments that we have here in Texas for Texas independence really apply to a lot of the other states. I mean, Texans aren't the only ones that are bristling under 180,000 pages of federal laws, rules, and regulations administered by 2.5 million unelected bureaucrats. The fact is that Texans believe that the best people to govern Texas are Texans.
Hey, Daniel, let me ask you this, because I've found this frustrating in the state of Tennessee, and I'm wondering if the sentiment is shared in the state of Texas. Oftentimes, we see states around the union that are inundated with federal funds that just rely on the government teat to be able to sustain themselves and to bail themselves out. Is that a concern of Texans?
Well, absolutely. I mean, what we've seen for well over 2 decades now is that Texas overpays into the federal government. All in, all things considered, on average, Texas overpays anywhere from $103 to $160 billion a year.
Wow.
Into the federal system. That's money that we never see, that comes right out of the pockets of Texas taxpayers. And so, we have to ask ourselves every 2 years when our legislature goes into session, where we're going to come up with revenue for the things that we absolutely need to solve, the challenges we need to overcome here, while all of our money is going up to Washington, D.C., going to the 2.5 million unelected bureaucrats, are being redistributed to states that can't get their act together. So, it's understandable that Texans are pretty upset, like a handful of other states that overpay. But for us in particular, it has a negative economic impact. It's like a Hurricane Harvey event hitting Texas every 9 months.
Daniel Miller, the book is Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. A friend of mine, Todd Starnes, always has this question, then what? My question would be, I have so many questions on this. I mean, this is fascinating. Now, if for some reason this were able to occur, what about national security, the security of the republic, the border? I mean, you're at the southern border. You've got an influx there. Does your book address some of that and other issues?
Absolutely. And on top of that, we actually have a section, an entire section dedicated to Texas on our website that people can go to at tnm.me/Texit. And what we do is we address all of the major questions. But, when people begin to think, whether it's Texas or any other state of the union, begin to think about this idea of independence, all you have to do is take out a globe, spin it, and put your finger down and realize that there are self-governing independent nations all around the world, totaling 195 plus, depending on how you count it, that have all been able to address every single one of these issues, whether it's national defense or borders or immigration or, a Social Security-like system. All of those issues have been able to be addressed. And so what we're essentially saying is, how is it that those countries are better than we are, right?
Right.
If they can figure it out, we can figure it out. And that goes not just for Texas, but any state of the union who would want to re-examine their relationship with the federal government.
Hey, Daniel, I got about 90 seconds left. Can you give us the elevator speech on what it would take in Texas for that to actually occur?
Bottom line, here's what needs to happen. Right now, as of yesterday, legislation is being filed in the Texas legislature.
Oh, so this is not in theory. So this is you're making the move now then.
This is happening. Yeah, I've worked for 24 years for this day, but as of yesterday, legislation will be filed in the Texas legislature for this next session that will enable Texans to go to the polls and have a vote on this issue. This is history in the making, and I'm just proud to be a part of it.
When would the people vote on this? Would this be in the spring or would this be in the fall? How long of a process would this wind?
Well, our legislature only meets for 140 days every other year. Okay. So the way the bill is constructed is we would have, if it were to pass or when it does pass in this legislative session, I'm being an optimist, the language of the bill calls for the vote to be in November of next year. So we could be very close to seeing a vote on Texas independence.
This is incredible. So yesterday it gets filed. Check out his book, folks. Daniel Miller's book, Texit, Texit, like Brexit, but Texit, Why and How Texas Will Leave the Union. Daniel, thanks for answering my questions this morning. It's great to have you on. Please keep us up to date on how that's going. And don't forget, if it does happen, if Texit happens, don't forget, without Tennessee, there would be no Texas. So we can still be friends, right?
Absolutely. Let's be friends. Let's do business.
All right. Sounds good. God bless Texas. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you, Tim.
All right. Appreciate it. 7:44. That's